I'm the world's leading real estate trainer today, and I teach people how to buy and sell houses without using their money or credit all over North America. And because I personally teach my events, I hear the same things over and over everywhere I go, no matter what city I'm in. People are hating more and more of what they do. I'm not in control of my life, and I have to work 70 hours a week, whether I like it or not. To take your life back and build your own business is really what we are here to do.
When it comes to Ron LeGrand, there's nobody else that has had more of an impact on our real estate investing business. Ron himself has invested in more than 3,000 single-family homes himself. So he knows what he's doing. He's been through all the failures and the mistakes to teach us and other students.
Our folks come in, they start wherever they like. I like to teach people how to be a transaction engineer. There's all kinds of ways to make money in real estate. And if you only see one way, then you're walking through the business with blinders on and usually walking over the dollars to get to the dimes. Real estate is a vehicle to generate cash, not to bury cash.
It's amazing, just 2 years ago when I was working a day job at a restaurant and quitting that to go do the real estate full time, I've made more money in one transaction than I ever made in 1 year working at a restaurant.
My goal is to get people out of a job and into freedom by taking control of their own financial destiny. It's all about freeing up your time so you can enjoy life.
Because of Ron LeGrand, we were able to triple our income and go from 6 figures a year to 7 figures a year within that first year of meeting Ron.
The common objection, I don't have time, I don't have money, it's not for me. Ron's had 18-year-old kids go through this program, make $30,000. It works for anybody.
We have a community, and that's what it is. It's a community. It's a great big family. So we're not going to run you in a seminar and love you and leave you in the morning. We're going to be there when you get out of the seminar, and we expect this relationship to keep going for a lot of years into the future. Once you enter Planet Ron, as I call it, you're in it for life.
Well, good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're at. I'm Ron LeGrand, and this is our Masterclass. It's 1 o'clock, about 1 o'clock here in Jacksonville, Florida, where we're broadcasting from. And frankly, we scheduled it so that we didn't penalize you West Coasters to make you get up too early. Got a lot to cover. Before we get into it, I'm going to go through my punch list here. And first, I want to welcome you to our staff. Nick and John and Debbie, put the camera on you. There you go. There's the back room fulfilling this thing for you. That feller in the front there, his name is Nick. And Nick is going to tell us how we're going to handle questions right now, aren't we, Nick? Aren't we, Nick?
The microphone, sorry there.
All right.
All right, yeah, question. So most of you are watching on our event platform called Ring Central, but some of you may have found us on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, maybe Facebook. If you're watching there, you should register for this event, and you'll receive a link to join us here in Ring Central. Now, it's 100% free to register, and you'll also receive reminders each day with the access links, because this is going on all week long, every day at 1. So if you want to join us on day 2 and 3, then be sure to register so you get those access links. You should see a link to register maybe in the description below the video on YouTube or Facebook or wherever. So, If you think of a question, go ahead and jot them down because we're going to have a session at the end of today's class where our VIPs can ask Ron their questions directly. And you can even do that on camera if you want to. Now, if you're not a VIP, you can either click the upgrade to VIP link that's on the it's a button that's on the left-hand side of your screen. Or if you're watching on your phone, then it would be on the bottom of your screen. So you can go to ronlegrand.com/VIP and sign up there. Now you should see a Q&A link that's on the left-hand side as well. Now, once Ron finishes today, you're going to click on that, and then you'll be able to ask Ron questions either via chat on the comments or live on camera if you wanted to share your camera and kind of have more of a back and forth conversation with Ron.
Okay. All right. And we're going to go, when I get through with my session today, then we're going to take a 10-minute break, and then we're going to come back and answer all the questions from those who have the VIP. Here, let me see what this VIP thing is, because you're all going to want it. You might as well just make up your mind to go get it now. Because the first thing on the list is we're recording this whole event, including the questions, and all VIPs are going to get that. And that, of course, VIPs get access to the Q&A. Now, one tip on that, don't try to memorize them. Okay, write them down as you go. I'll answer every single one of them. I'll stay here till all of them are answered. And I know you're going to have questions because I'm covering a lot of material in my hour and a half sessions every day, Monday through Friday of this week. So you're also going to get a monthly conference call. You'll get on the call with, monthly conference call means more than one person on there. So you'll get information on how to sign up for that as well. Plus you get a 30-minute planning session. This is a planning session to where you call in. First, you fill out the application, where is that app right now? Is that where they can see it, Nick?
No, we send it out when you register for VIP. Okay. You'll get an email for it from us.
You'll get it. Fill that out. It gives us an idea who you are. Gives us an idea what we want to talk about when you get on the phone to help you take the next step and excel your business or get into business. And we got folks here who are just trying to get into the business. I'm going to show you how to do that this week. And it does not take money. It does not take credit to get into the business. Okay. So that is free to you, but get the application in right now. And because it's going to be first come, first serve, and they're numbered, and they'll contact you and set up a 30-minute call whenever you're ready. Now, that's not a sales call. That is a planning call, and nothing will be sold unless you bring it up. You're also going to get a 90-minute online training online, all about the terms business, which I'll show you what that means here in a few minutes. And you're going to get about a half-a-day seminar as well on the whole thing, pretty and ugly house businesses, more than we're going to get into today. And you're also going to get my $1 million script package. And trust me, they are $1 million scripts. In fact, one of our days is going to be on pre-screening prospects. And you're going to see how important those scripts are. They are a maker or a breaker of how many deals you get and whether you get deals at all. You should already have those if you're signed up. If you're not signed up, go do it right now. This whole thing is only $149. And I'm going to top it off with my free course on creating wealth inside your IRA. Now, real estate is the vehicle that's going to create that wealth for you. And I'll show you why you should be doing as many deals as you can inside your IRA and not outside your IRA. And I'll also show you in this course how to put your children through school from birth to age 30 and never pay a nickel for cost, tuition, travel, none of that, by using an IRA particularly set up for children called a CESA, C-E-S-A. That's a Coverdale Educational Savings Account. Very few people know about this thing, and they're just they save every week or every month to put money in their college fund. When you see this presentation in this course, you're going to see why that's kind of foolish. When all you got to do is do 1 or 2 deals and their kids paid for college, not just college. Again, all education from birth to age 30. All right. Let me keep on going down my punch list. You can give me the screen back now, John. I'm going to give you a little idea about the agenda. Today, we start with where the money is made in real estate, both in the ugly house business as well as in the pretty house business. And if you're a beginner, that should really open up your eyes. If you're not a beginner, that should clarify a little bit, because I do both. Still do to this very day, still buy houses, Some people call me Moses, but I didn't come down from any mountain. I just outlived most people in my industry. That's all. I'm going to do a class on finding the deals. That is tomorrow. I'm going to do one then on where to get the money. I'm going to do another one on exit strategies, on the deals. And then I think I said pre-screening. Anyway, there's 5 classes and then 5 question sessions after that. We started every day at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we should be taking questions somewhere around 2:30. Some might be a little earlier. Some might be a little bit later. I haven't done this before, so I'm just guessing at the time frame. If you got a phone, which I know you do, and I'm sure it's sitting right beside you, look here. I got one too. Mine's on silent. It's not going to ring. Nothing's going to disturb me. Look here, I'm turning it down, face down, but I don't even know if it's ringing. No buzzing, no vibrating, no lighting up. Give me an hour and a half. Might be an hour and a half you'll look back on for a long time to come. Like my first seminar I did in March 12th, 1982. Changed my life. Changed my life for all these years. Changed my children and my grandchildren's life. Changed a lot of people's lives with the thousands and thousands and thousands of people that I've helped get out of the financial trap they're in throughout the years, and still doing it today as well. In fact, I've been at this 43 years, March the 12th. And I've just about done everything you can do in real estate, and I teach most of it. And if you go to our website, ronlegrand.com, you'll find it all listed on there. Also, while you're at it, sign up for our podcast. It's called thementorpodcast.com. Go sign up for it. Happens every Wednesday. It's only 30 minutes. You get reminded before we air. And when you sign up for the podcast, which is free, you got a whole site full of previous podcasts on just about anything and everything you could think of. Okay. Thementorpodcast.com. And while you're at it, do you have people that you might want to share this information with this week that I'm giving you? If you do, now would be a very good time to invite them and tell them what it's all about and what we're doing. And it's all free, for crying out loud. This is also a good thing for a spouse to look at if your spouse is a little doubting that this isn't a scam and it won't work here, it won't work for me, yada, 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 all the stuff we've heard over the years from future millionaires, many of them. Okay. Don't blame people for being skeptical. I was skeptical when I first started. I saw an ad to come learn how to do real estate at one night in a hotel room in Jacksonville, Florida, where I live. And I knew it was a scam, and I knew I was wasting my time, but something compelled me to go anyway. 2 weeks later, I was in a 2-day seminar, and literally that one changed my life forever. And I've never gone back, because I was just a few weeks out of that deal, 3 exactly, and I got my first check on a wholesale deal for $3,000, and that was a lot of money in 1982 when you're broke. So invite your friends and family right now. Let them see what it's really about, so that all these misconceptions they got about real estate, we can get them out of their head. I'm going to show you how to make the money. Show you some examples of how I make the money. However, this is not intended to be a complete training system. In fact, it's only 5 days at an hour and a half each, but it certainly will open your eyes to where the money is and what it's going to take to get to it. And on day 3, I'm going to offer you a 4-day training that I still do personally, which has changed thousands and thousands and thousands of lives. It's the basic training on how to do this business of buying and selling, or buying and keeping real estate. Let's see. That's it. I think I'm out of anything else I should add, Nick? All right. Then let's get going, guys. I didn't hear John introduce himself. He trying to hide behind a desk?
Hello, I'm John.
Yeah. Well, we want to see your pretty face there, John. And is Debbie in there? Yes, yes, yes. But please don't put the camera on me. Yeah, yes, yeah. Actually, that's exactly who I do want to put the camera on. People are hiding from it. All right, got to pick on them. So there's 3 of them and there's 1 of me. So let's get going. Where the big money is in single family houses. This is really a part-time job with a full-time income once you get it cranked up and running. and you get to start immediately without, you're going to spend some money on your training, but you're going to spend some money on some houses. I'll show you some examples. But there's so many deals that we do that don't require any of our money. We certainly don't need a partner, and I eliminate the risk. I mean, I'm getting old now, and I don't want any more risk. I've had my share of that, so we're going to operate without risk and do everything we can to make sure you don't lose money and that you start making it very quickly, and it's duplicate that process, both inside and outside of your IRA. We're never going to use credit in the pretty house business or the ugly house business. You'll see why. And you're going to use a little of your money from time to time, but it won't be much. It won't be much. And you'll get whatever I put money into a property, for example, closing costs or down payment of some sort. I want that money back within a few days, much bigger than what I put out. In that case, I'll use money. In some of the cases you're about to see, you don't need money at all. So I don't care what your credit looks like. In fact, I hope it's minus 580. Then I know you won't even bother walking into a bank, because we don't use banks on Planet Ron. Part-time, but full-time income. And frankly, part of our training is to train you how to get out of your own way, how to get everything done for you for a very small amount of money, giving you time to think and concentrate on your business and grow your business instead of getting caught up in the minutia trap. All your systems are in place here. You just got to step in them and keep walking as you're directed step by step. You have to go find anything new and spend hours searching on the internet for a piece that you think is missing. Your pieces have been done right here, right now, as you'll see. We're going to cover the best ways to make the most money in real estate today with no money or credit, and how to make a big monthly residual income and retirement with no risk. And frankly, if you don't have the residual income, you're not ever going to get to the point, most likely, where you feel like you're financially free. It's your income, your fixed monthly income that you only do the job once, and it keeps on bringing you in money, that's going to make you feel wealthy, regardless of how much money you have in the bank. Got to get that monthly coming in, because you know what's going to happen. You don't know. You don't know. Might get sick, whatever. All those things that can happen to people, and then you don't have any revenue coming in at all. Operate your business without raising money. Without raising money where you personally guarantee it. You're not going to ever go to a bank and apply for a loan on my world. You're not going to have large overhead. In fact, it's incredible how low the overhead is in this business compared to all those brick and mortar businesses. Like I used to have 6 restaurants. It cost me $100,000, my last one, $100,000 a month just to break even. Didn't start making it until I got to that point in some months, and we did not get to that point. So trust me, this real estate business is nothing like that business, because we have a very small overhead cost, very high transaction value in the thousands and thousands, as you're about to see. Very few businesses have that. And try to keep you out of costly entanglements. And you're going to make some mistakes, but if you follow me, you won't make any big mistakes. Why the coming recession? Do you think there's a recession coming? I don't know. Well, I guess I do know. I guarantee you there's a recession coming. I just don't know when it's coming. That's all. And if anybody tells you that they think they know when it's coming, they're just making it up. Trust me. I've been through 6 down cycles since 1982 when I started, and there has not been one of those years I couldn't buy or sell single family houses. Still do to this day. And in fact, you're going to meet my partner in my business and my acquisitionist. His name is Adel. You're going to meet him probably tomorrow. Maybe not today, but at least tomorrow. What would you do if you had an extra 20 grand coming in every month? Think about that. What would you do if you didn't have to worry about paying bills and you had more money than you needed to live on? And what would change? And then what would change if you did 1 or 2 or 3 of those every single month, like we do now? Maybe you would do things a little differently. With a lot of extra income, several times what you need to live on, maybe you can take trips like this. Beverly and I went to, well, you know what that is? It's a Coliseum, or what's left of it. And I love going in that place. And then I love going in this place even more. I used to own the resort in Alaska called Salmon Falls Resorts in Ketchikan. We go up there, and we don't go up there to fish. We go up there to kill fish and always bring fish home. And it's a beautiful place. I've been going there since 1997, except a couple of years that I didn't make it. But, you know, this is what it's about. It's about enjoying life And if the only thing is stopping you is money, then that's very easy for you to fix. Here's something else we go to Alaska to catch. That's a halibut. That's a pure white meat, and that's one of the prize fishes in halibut. I've known a lot of speakers. I've worked with a lot of speakers, and I've hired some of them, like this guy. In fact, when I hired him, he did have the golden hair, not the silver hair like he has now. And this guy who has no hair, you know who that is, Dr. Phil. And here's one that has a lot of hair. Gene Simmons from KISS. I love talking to this guy. He's a hoot, man. He's just an ordinary guy. Today, here's my children. That's Goldie and Ruby. My children have got children, and I think some of them have got children. The more I think about it, and 9 children, 14 greats, and 9 greats, 14 greats, and I think I got one on the way. So, fortunately, they're all gone. Some of them didn't go very far, but these 2 dogs right here, my wife loves them dogs and gives them more attention than she ever gave me. I can tell you that right now. They are her life. Now, of course, she's about to turn 80 next February, so she's all day in the house, and with those dogs beside her, she's got company all day. In those days that I even leave anymore. But I didn't start easy. I started very hard in 1982, and I started because I couldn't even buy my wife a new wash machine, and I got to the point where I had to change something. I told myself, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I ain't doing this. I was running a service station at the time. I was a mechanic, and I was responsible for everything. I bet I've washed 1 million windows in my life. Back then, you know, they used to wash them for you, and check your oil. Okay. So I made up my mind. Everybody's got a point by which they're going to have to make a decision to change. That, or just live the rest of your life, not make that decision, and live out your life, not getting anywhere near your dreams, not creating any wealth in your family. And, you know, that would make you normal. But I'm guessing if you watch this, you don't want to be normal. I don't like normal. So you're about to hear about a business that you can get into. I don't care what your financial status is. I don't even want to hear it. Don't even want to hear it, because you don't need money to do what I'm about to show you. And you can ramp that up as fast as you want to ramp it up. You're going to have to keep learning as you go. But fortunately, I got all the training you need to do this business. And you'll be surprised what will happen within your first year if you get out there and start doing it. I learned this the hard way. I learned to get out of my own way. I learned there's not one thing I can do in my businesses that somebody else can't do better if you let them. The less I do, the more I make means get out of your own way. Let the system work for you. Delegate to the people to do the things that you don't really want to do anyway, and watch your business grow quickly, because you've decided that you don't have to be the one to show up for work every morning. In my real estate business, I don't spend 2 hours a week at it. I don't even spend that really. And Adel, my acquisitionist, told me he only spends about 10 hours a week at it. And we do, some months we do 3, some months we do 1 or 2, some months we don't do any. But you're about to see what kind of money I'm talking about. Now, what do? I'm retired. In other words, I don't work at Global Publishing much, but I'm in and out, and I'm always on the phone, on the text, and participating. But in my spare time, I do some of these cars. Every one of those cars I've had. One of them I still have, and I renovate them at my home here in Jacksonville, Florida. There's my favorite car. That's a 67 Lincoln Continental convertible, the kind that Kennedy got shot in. And I've totally restored that car. Beautiful car. I can do that plenty of time. And the truth is, I only work in my workshop during the evening, which gives me a place to go smoke my cigar. For some reason, Beverly won't let me smoke in the house. Your job is to make decisions. When you come to the point to where that's all you have to do, you are very close to financial freedom if you're not already there. Some of you are already there now. But if you have to do everything, be a part of everything, you're not going to get there. Well, it took me so many years to learn that lesson, so many years. And there's a lot of ways to make money in real estate, and I teach them all, and I've done them all. But before you can become successful, we got to change your thinking. We got to change your thinking about how you think of real estate. And we got to change your opinion of how much you can make in real estate. And we got to change your thinking about risk and fear. Fear is the biggest killer. Our goal is to help you get checks as fast as you can. You watch that fear float away. And I promise you, if you get engaged, a year from now, you're going to be laughing at all the stuff you're thinking about now if you're just in the beginning in this business. And by the way, if you're not beginning and you're somewhat of a veteran, fine. Just watch closely and see how fast you can move up your business just based on what we do. And honestly, this is going to be harder to do than teaching you real estate. If you want to know the truth, people come in with all kind of baggage, all kind of myths in their brains, and people, because their friends and relatives tell them this real estate stuff, it don't work in this market, it don't work here, it's a scam, blah, 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 blah. Know this, broke people are not qualified to help you get rich. Better quit listening to the dream stealers that want to take your dreams away. They don't even know what they're talking about, but still they all have an opinion, don't they? Unfortunately, some of them have your last name. I hope they're not in your house. Two fastest ways right here: wholesaling a junker and getting a non-refundable option deposit when you put a lease option tenant buyer in a house that you buy or lease. You lease it and sandwich lease it, or you just buy it, or you just get it under contract and flip it. And we can do that in both sides of our business, pretty houses and the ugly houses. So wholesaling has always been a fast way to get a check. In fact, it is the fastest way to get a check in this business. You just get it under contract and flip the contract. In other words, you're selling the contract. You're not selling the house. And the buyer then will close with your seller, and you don't have any cost in the middle. I'll show you some. Watch these. Either way, you're welcome to take your camera out and take, or do a screenshot. Well, I don't know how you're looking at this, or photograph it like I do when I go to a seminar. I just put on the photos here and shoot the screen. Keeps me from doing all that writing. Here's one that Adel and I did recently. Look at that. I hope that's not anybody's dream home. It is. We need to up your dream somewhat. Little box, little 1,200 square foot box. I've done thousands of them. I've done 3,000 plus houses in my life. Renovated about 1,000 of them. Took a much easier way on the other 2,000, as you see. In fact, on the last day, I'm going to compare a all cash to a qualified buyer house to a buyer you put a tenant buyer in. I think I'm going to open your eyes up on that one when you see how much money you give away every time you sell a house. And we bought this one for $48,000 from the owner, no realtor involved. That's what the owner was asking, and that's what we gave him. And look what we sold it for: $85,000. Did not lay a finger on it. Mayo means maximum allowable offer, based on my training. We bought it way below Mayo, as you'll see. We netted $37,000 on that one, but here's the good part. I gave the seller a $10 deposit, and 9 days later, we were closing. We assigned the contract to another investor. Let me say that again. I put up $10, and 9 days later, I got back got back $37,000 net. All I did was take that piece of paper and assign it to my buyer that I found very quickly, because if you can see, he paid $85 for it and was worth $175 fixed. It needed about $50 in repairs, but that's still a nice spread. Okay. Adam and I chose to get out quickly, none of the costing entanglement to renovate the house. So 37 grand. That's net minus any marketing costs. I didn't make 37 grand in an entire year in my last restaurant. Some comparison, huh? Here's another one. This one, look at the R on it. After repair value is 230, but it wasn't repaired. It needed about 40 in work at least. We bought it for $60,000. And I believe we bought it from a guy who his parents died, and he'd been through probate, because Adel sent them a postcard. We sold it for $112,000, and we netted $52 on it. $52,000 on a house we did not take title to and did not touch, and it took us 11 days. Once you get these things under contract and have the title check done, they're going on the market as is where it is, and you're going to get flooded with calls. You got to remember, the people you're selling these houses to, you're selling them a business opportunity. Okay, these are not owner occupants; they are investors. As you can see, we left money in it, plenty of money in it for the next guy or gal, and I'm sure they bought it and renovated it and sold it. So there's two of them I bought with $10. So far, we're doing okay. Can everybody afford this so far? There's what the inside of the house looked like. Gal lived in it for 11 years. I mean, been dead 11 years, been vacant there for 11 years. This turns me on here. I love houses like this. In fact, I love odors too. I love cat urine. Cat urine really turns me on. When you open the door to a house and you look at that, you're going to say to yourself, "Oh my goodness, I know I'm going to get this one cheap." This one we only made $28,000 on, and I did buy this one. I closed on this one, and 35 days later, I sold this one. And I did have to put a roof on that because I listed it with a realtor to sell it, and because we paid too much for it. Frankly, paid $202 for it, and if it needed $50 in work, I want to show you where all that money goes on day 5. Mayo maximum allowable offer was $167, and we paid $202. So, frankly, Adel bought this one, and we still made $27 on it and screwed up along the way. By the way, we made more wholesaling it than we would have made rehabbing it and retailing it. This is the cheapest one we've done, $15,300, but I took a $10 deposit and 16 days, and I've never even seen the inside of this house. I don't really care. The check cleared, that's all I care about. Here's the lowest price one we've done, $13,500 on this little old crap house in a poor area of Jacksonville. Mayo was $49,000, and we only paid $41,500, but we only netted $13,500. I said, "Al, this isn't below my standards." But I decided, let's see, it's $13,000 or no thousand. Committee voted and took the $13,500. Now watch this. I just showed you 5 houses. 5 houses. I only bought one of them, and I sold it quickly. 5 houses, total of $50 deposit on all 5 of them, and here's the net on them over a 2-month period. $147,000 net in 2 months. Now that means over the 2-month period we bought and sold. We didn't start here and 2 months later we sold our first one. No, we did both of those over a 2-month period. All cash, and yes, all taxable. Sold them all cash. Then there's rehabbing, which we're not going to cover today. I certainly do teach it. When I see you in my 4-day event, teach it very clearly and very simply with a checklist on what you better not do. Are you going to get some seminars in the School of Hard Knocks that all rehabbers take if they don't get proper training to begin with. And I've done over 1,000 rehabs, and I got one out there right now waiting to be sold that we rehabbed. And then I got another one that we just bought, and I'll show you a little bit, that don't need any rehab. I got another one that I'm going to wholesale, and I can't even remember. I'm not involved in the day-to-day business. But rarely do I want to rehab today because of the costly entanglements, and it takes 5-6 months to get in and get out of it, and you got to raise the money. I wrote a check but for the house that I got right now, but most people have to go get a private loan from a private lender, which we're going to talk about on day 4, I think. And the holding costs are all there, which we're definitely going to talk about. So I don't have anything wrong with rehabbing and retailing. I really don't. In fact, maybe Jay Connor, a friend of mine in North Carolina, he only rehabs 30 houses a year, and he nets well over $2 million a year rehabbing 30 houses around the $300,000 mark. So I'm not telling you that I'm not money in it, but I am telling you there is another way that creates long-term wealth, not just getting a check, giving the government a big chunk of it, and keeping the rest. We can make money, but you also got to learn how to keep it as much as you can of it along the way, legally. The most profitable way to increase your cash flow and grow wealth is in the pretty house business. We call it the modern day money machine. The pretty house business is houses that are in good shape. I'll show you a couple of them here when I get to them. They don't need rehab. And we buy them on terms and we sell them on terms. Buy them on terms and we sell them on terms. That's a writer downer. Well, if I buy them on terms, I'm putting a lease option tenant buyer in them. I pay cash, I'm going to sell it for cash. Either I'm going to wholesale it or I'm going to rehab it and retail it. I just gave you the 3 ways you're going to make money. If I buy it or lease purchase it from the seller, the terms are already there. I'm taking over their underlying debt, or I'm giving the seller back a debt on their property, making them a monthly payment. About 80% of the time, I'm taking over their debt. I'm not assuming it. Trust me, I'm never assuming a loan. I'm just going to start making payments on their debt till sometime in the future when they're paid off. All right. So I do both. We do both daily. But did you know you can't find ugly houses without finding pretty ones? And you know you can't find pretty ones without finding ugly ones? So you might as well learn the whole business, not go through the business with blinders on, like all your wholesalers are doing out there. If the house ain't ugly and cheap, they don't know what to do with it. Well, we do. And I bet you I can make a case here in a little bit where it's worthy of you learning to do as well. Fastest way to get a large check without using your money or credit and build wealth simultaneously is a down payment or non-refundable option deposit on a nice house in a nice neighborhood. When I sell a house with a lease option, I will not accept less than 5% of that sales price as a non-refundable option deposit. 5% is my minimum. I usually get closer to 10%, depending on the quality of the house and the quality of the neighborhood, as you'll see. And you'll never apply for credit to buy a house on Planet Ron. In fact, if you catch yourself filling out a loan application, smack yourself and ask yourself, WWRD, what would Ron do? If you're filling out an application to buy a house, you're doing it wrong. Because I don't want you guaranteeing debt. If you decide to guarantee debt, you're building your house on a house of cards, not on a solid foundation. You're a slave to the lender, and you're just making a mess of your credit report, which which quickly will disqualify you from getting any more loans from the bank. Then what do you do? When the bank cuts you off, because all these loans on your credit report. Every time you borrow more money, you get less and less lendable, contrary to what most people believe. So incidentally, your bank could care less about this thing called equity. They won't even consider it. They consider the income versus the outgo and how close to bankruptcy you're at right now. So when you learn how to buy houses without credit, there is no bank and there is no limit to how many you can buy or how fast you can buy them. It's you and the seller. And literally, once you meet the seller and get a contract, you can close as little as 2 or 3 days later if you need to move that fast. So the key is terms. Terms business is where you get all them goodies. The wholesale and rehabbing business is where you just get one check. No terms, no deals. Here's the 3 kinds of terms. Number 1, I can lease purchase the house from you, and then I could put another tenant buyer in there. In other words, I'm doing what's called a sandwich lease. You're to meet in the middle. The seller is leasing it to you, and you're leasing it to your buyer. With rights to do, obviously, you're going to lease it for more than what you're leasing it from the seller. I hope I didn't have to teach you that one. But you got the same income streams almost on a lease purchase as you do with owner financing. I buy mine with owner financing. I'll show you 2 of them I bought with owner financing. Both of them were nothing down. Both of them were nothing down. So owner financing is what I usually buy with. In Florida, we call it a wraparound mortgage if they have an underlying loan. Other states call it a contract for deed, an agreement for deed, and whatever they want to call it. It's the same document. I'm buying with owner financing on a wraparound mortgage, which means I own the property, and my land trust, which is how I'm going to own the house, owes the seller a debt usually equal to their underlying debt. I'm not personally guaranteeing that debt. I'm not liable for anything. My name will never get on a credit report because of that house, and nobody's ever going to be suing me because of that house. I'm going to teach you when I get a chance, which is in the 4-day event, how to set yourself up so that any predator coming after you, even if they get a judgment on you, that they can't collect anything. And I'm going to teach you largely how to keep them from coming after you. In other words, let's learn how to avoid risk while we're learning how to make money. The more money you make, the more important it is that you know how to structure yourself, your entities, and your asset protection, and your estate planning, and your tax savings devices. And third one is get the deed subject to. That's a big thing in this country right now. It has its flaws, but all that means is the seller just signs a deed, hands it to your closing agent, and signs a closing statement, and they leave, and you start making payments whenever you agree, which in my case will be the third month after closing, and you just keep on making them until you cash out. Sometimes they pin you down the balloon, which means it's all due and payable at X time. Many of the times, you just agree to take over their debt until it's paid off. In other words, their payment is now your payment. You might want to screenshot this because people just forget this. Here's the benefits for doing terms deals. Number one, you get monthly cash flow. Number two, every month you pay that payment, your debt goes down. When you put a lease option tenant buyer in a house, their price doesn't come down, their price is fixed. So every month you get more equity. Appreciation. That's been big here in the last couple of years. I'm going to show you a house in a minute. I bought for $351,000 in 2014, and today it's worth $707,000. That's appreciation. 3 years ago, it was only worth about $400,000. Then there's that depreciation. I love depreciation because the more of that I have, the less taxes I pay. You get to depreciate a house. In other words, the minute you take title to it, you start depreciating it. If you take title on 12/31, you get the depreciation for the whole year of whatever year you're in. Okay, that's big. The more money you make, the more you want to work on reducing your taxes legally. Most of my tenant buyers never buy the house. I'm not sad about that. I'm not, because I really don't want to give up my golden geese if I can help it. But if they buy, they buy. You'd be surprised how few of them actually close. I'm giving them 2 years to be in the house, 2 years to buy it. And they just don't do what they don't go fix what they need to fix in that 2 year period. They get comfortable living there, or they don't. And when on or before their time is up, they call and say that they're moving. That's their choice. When they move, they forfeit that deposit. That deposit goes toward their down payment if they buy, but if they don't buy, they forfeit the deposit. It's in the agreement and signed with an attorney going in, so you don't have the problems coming out. Yes, I've got all the documents for you. Yes, you're going to need the documents. Yes, you're going to close with an attorney. Any kind of deal you do that you have an ongoing relationship with the seller or the buyer, such as I'm buying with owner financing. Attorneys close it, period. And they give you whatever I don't give you. I'm going to give you a contract, and I'm going to give you a deed to a trust, and your attorney's going to give you everything else to make sure that you don't have any issues with state or federal government. In other words, I want to build golden geese. I call them the golden geese because they just keep laying the golden eggs. Love these golden geese. I do it once and I keep getting paid. Unlike wholesaling and retailing, where the poor old goose has got to die. Yeah. You're dead on a doornail and you ain't never going to get another nickel out of it. And you're going to pay the maximum taxes because you're selling the house within the first year of you buying it. And when you do that, you're going to pay the maximum taxes. Very little of your time is required. In fact, about 90% of the work is done by virtual assistants and outsourcing companies. And I mean that. We have a company that takes your inbound calls. We have VAs that make your outbound calls. And that same group of VAs does all that other grunt work for you. Builds your buyers list, manages your website, manages your CRM. They do all that stuff for you. And for pennies, very small amount of money, way less than you'd pay any employee. And they're focused on only working with our students, not other companies out there. So they are making the calls to the sellers and filling out the sheet. Pat Live is taking the inbound calls. That's ronlegrand.com/Pat Live. They take the call and quickly send you the information, and I give you the script to give to them, which is only 6 lines in it. So when a seller's calling you, you need to know what they're asking, where the house is at. That's all you need to know, of course, other than their contact information, because our virtual assistants now call and get a property information sheet filled out. Now it's up to you to get on the phone and make a quick closing call, which I've given you the scripts to do so. We're going to talk about that, I believe, on day 3, I think, handling the closing call. Very little time is required because I delegate everything. In my case, I delegate everything. This is called a property information sheet. This is what your VAs are going to fill out for you. Oh, you can fill them out yourself for a while till you understand why I say that your VAs do it. This gives you the information on the house. And if you look down here in the middle, paragraph B, all right, you're calling the seller back here. You got all the information, so you don't need to go through all that again. And this is where you screen them out very quickly. Okay, you say, look, John, we can either pay cash or we can make your payments until you're paid off in the future. Now, of course, the cash price is already going to be considerably less than the terms price. So, John, do you have to have all your cash when you close, or would you consider better options? If that is checked yes, that means John has said, yes, I want to consider better options. If it checked no, then he means not. He wants all cash. Okay. Now, no matter what is checked, you're still going to, you got to make the closing call to get that answer. And then down here, there's other things you want to know. How many bedrooms and baths and square footage, and is it listed now? When do you want to move? And is it block or brick or frame? And are the payments current? All that's down below there in the last paragraph. So when you get this in your hand and your VA's called and filled it out, you're going to make one short closing call to determine whether it's going to pass or play. They'll call your leads for you. The hardest part today is to get people to pick up the telephone. So we probably, in fact, last time I looked, we can't get even 50% of the leads you send in to pick up the phone after 3 tries. So that's when you take over and you text them, as we teach. Text them and tell them you're interested in their house. You're not interested in their house. You're interested in buying their house. So you're not a realtor. And some of them will call you back. Whole goal here is to try to get as many sellers calling you as possible instead of you chasing them. Let them chase you. There's, 2 types of house. They're either free and clear or they're not. Either free and clear or they're not. And I can tell you right now, somewhere around 75 or 80% of the houses out there today have an underlying mortgage on them. Okay, that's good. Some of them are free and clear. That's good. I don't care which one it is. Both have their pluses and minuses. I want to show you my house right here. That's a home I have right now. I've had it since 2014. And beautiful home, beautiful subdivision, gated community, not manned, but gated community, 3,500 something square feet. And I got a call from the seller, and one of my staff members took it. Said right on there, he'd sell for what he owes. And he'd only been in the house for 3 years. That means the house was 3 years old when I bought it. He owed $351,000 on it, and he had a $1,925 PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance payment. He says, I'll sell it for what I owe. That, of course, got my attention, because when a seller tells you that, just go get their house. They're willing to give it to you. Now, I do have a paragraph in my scripts that say, John, actually, I can almost go back and show you that script. If I don't go back too far here, there it is on the left. That's A. It says basically, look, I can buy your house and I can probably pay your closing costs for you because you're not giving the seller any money. But that means the loan won't stay in your name. Is that okay? Now, what do you think they're going to say if they want to just get out of the house? Sure, it's okay. And what if it's not? So I just covered that right now. What if it's not okay? No, I got to have the loan paid off. Well, listen, I can't pay your loan off right now, but so you're telling me if I don't pay your loan off, you won't sell me the house? And I don't care what they say. If they say yes, I'm just going to move forward. If they say no, I said, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me lease purchase your house from you. Then the loan will stay in your name, but so will the title to the house, and the bank cannot call the loan due. And I'll make your monthly payment for you. See, guys, we can make as much on a lease purchase as we can on a wraparound mortgage purchase, other than depreciation. You don't get depreciation on a house that you don't own. Let me make a point, because I know I'm coming back to this. Let's say you got a Roth IRA, which you should have. And I hope you do have by Friday if you don't. If you have to lease purchase that house from the seller, that's one you want to do in your Roth IRA if you can, because a lease purchase is not a debt as far as the IRA concerns. If you buy that house, you buy the house and it comes with a mortgage, or you put a mortgage on it in your IRA, then when you sell it, you're going to pay maximum taxes because anything that comes with a debt in your IRA is going to incur UBIT, unrelated business income tax, UBIT. Just lease option in there and you solve that problem. Most people don't have any idea about that. So my exit, I put it on the market for $395. Now that was then. If that was today, it'd be on there higher. I got an option deposit of $50,000 down. Non-refundable option deposit goes right toward the down payment when they ever get a loan. In fact, here's a question, lesson for you. We don't ever name the down payment. We don't ever name it. And we don't ever name the monthly payment. We let the market tell us what they can pay. They get hit with simple questions when Pat Live takes their call. What's the most you can put down? What's the most you can pay per month? And now when you get that information on your buyer, it's up to you to determine how far you want to go with them. If they don't have much money and it's obvious they can't afford the house and there ain't no sense in trying to sell them a house, they're not going to buy. At this point, there's a lockbox on the door. If we like what we hear, we give them a lockbox code. If we don't, we don't. All right? And so that means you're not going to be showing your beautiful house. Very many people, one of them are going to gobble it up. Now, the one that I just showed you, it took me 2 months to find somebody with 50 grand. But I turned down quite a few buyers that had, I think the high was 25 grand. And of course, some of them, they want to come in there and put $2,000 down. And no. We're leasing with the option to buy. Guys, listen to me. I do not accept less than 5% non-refundable deposit, 5% of the sales price. And if they can't come up with that, I don't want them. They're just a problem I got to fix later. Plus, they kill my front end cash. I got $50,000 out of this house. I could have taken less many, many times over the two months before I got the 50. Now, by the way, when I bought it from the seller, I had 3 months before my first payment was due. So I didn't even make a payment in the middle. In fact, I got an extra $2,500 because I leased it at the end of the second month and they had to pay rent at that time. So I had to keep that rent because my payment on the loan wasn't due till a month later. I've got so many clauses and things that should go in your agreements that you won't get anywhere else on the planet. Remember, 43 years, well over 3,000 deals. Okay. So I just made 50 grand in a few days. Took 2 months. Can you spend the 50? Yes, you can. You put it in your bank account, do whatever you darn well please with it. When my buyer buys, if they ever buy, you don't have to bring 50 to closing like a realtor does because they're holding somebody else's money. That's my money. I'm not bringing it to closing. And they will just show it on the closing statement as a $50,000 down payment, which is true. So the day you get that money, you're never going to give it back. It's your money. Go spend it on whatever you want. Remember, I get $575 a month spread. Remember, $1,925 payment, $2,500 rent. And on these houses of this price range, you can easily get that or more. Some of them well over $1,000 a month just spread. You see, that's where your residual income comes from. Right there in real estate is that monthly spread on these nice houses. When I get cashed out, I get to keep all the cash except that which Uncle Sam gets. And if I'm over a year, I'm paying taxes on the long-term capital gains, which is about 15% for most people right now. And that's better than the 37%, which is maximum for short-term capital gains right now. How long does it take to get cashed out? Well, never, I hope. Never, I hope. Because when you get cashed out, your goose dies. You're killing your golden goose. You're killing all your revenue and all them goodies going forward. Here's what I would have lost. Now, this one you better pay attention to and get to taking some pictures with your phone because I hope you keep this information in front of you when you're trying to make a decision on how you want to get out of this house. Now, I give them 2 years, but make no mistake, if they're still in the house at the end of 2 years and they don't mention buying it, I don't do anything. I just keep collecting the rent for as long as they want to stay in it. I don't send them a notice, get out or pay up. I don't raise the rent. I don't do anything. They've been in there 2 years and they've been making their payments on time like they should. Why on earth would I want to move them out of that house? Let them keep paying my debt down while it's going up in value. And I'm getting appreciation and depreciation and monthly cash flow on it. I'm at it. Now, these figures are going to amaze you. Here we go. Purchased it in 2014. That's why I'm using it now, because this is an example of what time will do to your investment. I've done a lot of them since then, but none of them as good as this one, really. I took over a $351,000 debt, and today's value is $707,000, according to our comps. That house has gone up $356,000 in 10 years. In other words, it's doubled in value in 10 years. Doubled in value. Most of that happened within the last two or 3 years. Net cash flow, $62,000 in 108 months. Tax savings, $80,000. That's $89,12 per year. That's my depreciation deduction over 9 years. Actually, I literally $80,200 that I saved. That's not the write-off. That's the amount I saved by writing off 1/27th of my purchase price on that house. $8,900 a year. Loan balance started at $351. A few months ago, we checked it and it was about $260. That means that house has paid me $91,000 over the 10-year period, and we did nothing but collect the rent and make the payment underneath. And of course, I don't even do that. I don't even do that. I got a person that does that. Total gain on his one house in 9 years was $595,000. No credit, no money. I did pay some closing costs, no repairs, no realtors, no banks, and no costly entanglements. Try to explain this to your CPA or your attorney. But that ain't all. What do you see that's missing on there? The $50,000 deposit I got up front. So all in all, that house has made me $645,000, and I still own the house. That goose keeps laying the golden eggs. Quit selling everything you get your hands on. I buy for cash, I sell for cash. I buy on terms, I put a lease option tenant buyer in. But I don't have hardly any money in, and I'm getting $50,000 back. That's where your front end cash comes from. Guys, that's more than most people will make by renovating a house. And it was almost instantaneously. It didn't take 6 months to get in and get out of the house, and you don't have to borrow money and all that stuff. Let's do business the easy way. Here's one we just bought last month in Jacksonville. This is a $525,000 home, and they have a $335,000 mortgage on it. Now, we bought it for $440,000, and that's what the seller said they wanted. Apparently, they didn't know it was worth $525,000. Bought it with zero down. $500,000 house with zero down. Zero. Payments $2,500 PITI, give or take. Condition is excellent, and I did spend $5,000 paying the closing costs to buy this house. So that means I did have to come up with some money somewhere, a little. However, we put this back on the market at $529,900 on a lease purchase. And the minimum I'm going to accept is on the INROD, which is non-refundable option deposit, is $50,000. I'm not taking less than $50,000. Okay. I'd rather make a payment than take less than $50,000 because I know the house will bring it. And I know I'm going to get at least $3,000 a month in rent and maybe more. So let's see. How much money do I need to buy this house? $5,100. How much credit? Zero, zilch, nada. In this case, I got a 5-year balloon. I just couldn't talk her past 5 years. That means it's all due and payable within the end of the 5-year period. So I got a $50,000 front end deposit. I'm going to get one. I haven't got it yet. I'm just estimating $497 per month. I'm getting depreciation, appreciation, debt pay down, forfeited deposits if they move, and of course the remaining equity when they do cash us out. And look, I got almost $100,000 worth of equity the day I bought the house, and I don't have to repair it. Okay, this is called the terms of business. So it's another one of them golden geese, like I was just trying to show you. I'm putting a lease option tenant buyer in that house. Now I didn't have to. Okay, I owe her $440,000. House is worth $530,000. I could have just put it with a realtor and let them sell it for cash, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to give up $25,000 worth of commission. I don't need to. it'll make me a whole lot more money. In fact, I'm not taking less than 50. I'll tell you something. That's all upfront profit. Just so you know, we have over 100 calls on this house since we put it on the market. 100, 100. We haven't found the person yet that's got that. Actually, we found 2 of them, but we couldn't get either one of them to go through with it. One for $60,000 and one for $50,000 down. So it won't be long, and we'll have somebody in that house and collect that 50 grand. I already told my friend Adel, I want 50 grand out of this house, Adel, not 49.9. I want 50 grand out of this house. Okay, could I change that anytime I want? Here's something I learned in this business, folks, and you better learn it. Patience, Daniel-san. Patience. If you put yourself against the wall and put yourself in financial jeopardy, and you're going to make stupid decisions on the back end. Again, I got 3 months before the first payment is due, which is actually January 1st of next year. And I'll get a tenant buyer by then. So I'm not worried about it. Necessary, I'll make the payment. I want that upfront deposit. So does Adel, my partner, because that's how he gets paid. All right. All right. When do you sell? When you do sell profit tax at long-term capital gains? The first one I showed you. On the second one, it will not be. It'll be short-term capital gains. And I will pay taxes only on the 50. And then over the next 5 years, I'll pay a little bit of taxes on each payment. That equals my principal amount. Paying taxes on the 50 most likely because we got it and is non-refundable. Therefore, your CPA might want to go ahead and make you pay taxes on that this year. These types of deals are 66% of all of them. Now listen, what do I mean by these types? Well, go back to the types I'm talking about are the houses with a big mortgage and smaller equity. There's a ton of them out there. There's a ton of them. In fact, tomorrow afternoon, we're going to show you our Dreams Pro AI opportunity. And that's the one where you can literally pull any kind of list on any of the houses anywhere in the United States using this AI-driven machine and pull all kinds of mailing lists based on the motivation, like they're in foreclosure or they're out-of-town owners or they're after probate or whatever. You got a whole 17 of them you can choose from. And you can also choose from a large debt or a small debt. I mean, large equity, small equity. Don't hesitate at all to send a postcard to the small equities. I just showed you the first one was a small equity. 351 owed, it was only worth 385. In fact, they had listed, realtor couldn't sell it, and then when it expired, that's when I came in. The second one, it's got a larger debt, but I'd mail both. The smaller debt is all about taking over the loan, and I just want to get debt relief. Larger debt, we can make all kinds of deals out of those. I mean, the larger equity, not the larger debt. All right, Ron, why don't I just get them to a bank? Why don't I just get them a bank loan? The answer is very simple, because you can't. They can't qualify. Now look, I looked it up on the internet a little while ago. 35% of the people who apply for a loan at a bank to buy a house do not get qualified to get turned down. 35% of the people who apply. Therefore, I'll guarantee you, if people that want a house, if 35% can't, then there's at least another 35% are not even going to apply because they know they're going to get turned down. 70% of the market looking to buy a home cannot qualify to buy a home at a bank. They can with us because we're the gatekeeper. They lease option from us, we buy it or lease option from the seller. They lease option from us. I'm going to raise the price every single time. I always raise the price on my houses when I sell them, whether they're renovated or whether they're on terms. They get to live in that house for 2 years, they think, clean up what's broke, fix their credit, fix their debt ratio, or whatever is keeping them from getting a loan right now. And then when they get to the end of the 2-year period, if they haven't bought it, they're still going to stay in it. And to be honest, I'll still give them credit for the down payment they gave me. And depending on how many more years are in there after that, I'll make them some concessions on the sales price. But they usually, if they haven't bought in 2 years, they're not going to buy. That doesn't mean I'm going to pull them out of the house. I'm not. In fact, I'll tell them that up front because I don't care if they buy or not. And if you want to know the truth, don't misconstrue this. I just hope they don't buy, because if they don't buy, then my goose lives forever. If they do buy, I got to go out and get another goose to replace that goose. Right? Now, I'll do anything I can to help them get qualified, but guess what? They never ask. They never ask, period. So you got to think about how important it is that you and very few others in your city are willing to lease option nice homes in nice areas, because I don't care about their credit. I don't care. I want to know how much money they can pay per month, how much they can put down. They pass those two hurdles. Unless I find something on them that is just ridiculously atrocious, then they're in. They're in. And then when the people with the most money are in. Look, if I can get a $50,000 down payment on a house, am I going to worry about any of that other stuff people worry about? Nope. And I'll tell you something else. Tenant buyers don't tear up houses. Tenants tear up houses. Tenant buyers have skin in the game. They're totally different human beings to deal with. They know if they act up on the rent, they're going to lose that deposit. Signed in front of an attorney. Lease purchasing houses is really a different business altogether than renting houses. There's no way I'm ever going to rent out a house again, ever. Why would I? I give up thousands of dollars worth of deposit, and when I rent to own, I make them responsible for all of the repairs on the house after the first 30 days. Can't do that if you're just renting houses. Plus, I'm telling you, I got a totally different level of human being renting to own. They intend to buy. They intend to buy. Most of them don't. Their choice. Buy on terms, sell on terms. You've heard that before, haven't you? In other words, isn't it time for you to become the bank rather than being a slave to the bank? You go to the bank and borrow money and guarantee that debt, you're a slave to the bank. And I've seen so many people go out of business playing the cash flow shuffle. Buy a house, fix it, go refinance it. Buy a house, fix it, go refinance it. Buy a house, fix it, go refinance it. Refinance it for 80% of its value after you had it about a year. In other words, you're all right as long as you're playing the cash flow shuffle. But the money you take out of that house, most people don't understand. Some of that's going back into the house. And if you go spending it, now you're in trouble when it's time to put it back in the house. And refinancing lasts 30 years, and your money might last 30 days if you're lucky. So you're just digging a hole deeper and deeper and deeper every time you do it. Now, of course, 30 years, the loans will pay off and everybody will be happy, right? Unlikely, and that depends on what happens between now and 30 years from now. As long as we can keep planes from running into buildings and all kinds of stupid things that other people do, you're all right. How many of these $50,000 paychecks do you need to be out of work and be free? Not very many. Not very many. And how many of these $575 a month checks? That's a spread. See, that's what you want to start building, concentrate on, is building that passive income spread between the rent you collect and the payment you make. But Ron, I don't know what to say. I'm scared. Well, it's one thing we're going to work on if you come to my planet. I have scripts for everything. I have scripts that you can just easily read and not worry about what to say. Plus, I have 14 mistakes you make on the phone, which I'm going to go over Wednesday, I think, and work with you to help you get your conversation abilities up way, way, way up from where they're at now, and show you the mistakes you're making, and give you a way to prove it to yourself that you're making these mistakes. And then you can go to work cleaning them up, just like I did, just like everybody does. This is your script that you call a seller with after you get the PI sheet from your agent, from your virtual assistant. And it says, see right down there where it says first, now, well, start at the top. Hey, John, this is Ron calling you about my house you discussed with my assistant yesterday. You got a minute? Yeah. Well, look, they say, I got all the information I need on the house. They say that you were not interested in, let me make your payment till you're paid off. Is that correct? Yeah. So you got to be paid off in full or you can't sell? Well, listen, we've found that some people would rather I make payments on their loan till sometime in the future when they're paid off, and others have to have cash now before they can close. Are you one that has to have the cash right now or else you won't sell? If the answer is yes, you do not need to read the script below, which gives them all the reasons why they might want to consider terms. If the answer is, well, not really, then you read the script below. You don't see it all, but it's there. And gives them all the benefits of selling to you with terms. Benefits like you don't have to be out of the house the day we close. You don't have to move all your furniture out. Just leave what you want and take what you want. We'll close as soon as you're ready, and there are no realtor fees. And if they're selling to you with nothing down, you're paying the closing costs. So I'll pay all the closing costs. And no more calls from people jerking your train and couldn't buy a house if you gave it to them, so forth and so on. And if take it like it is, you don't have to do anything if I buy it. See, these are all reasons why they might change their mind. When you get to the bottom, say, well, how do you feel about that? Would you like to consider me making payments until you're paid off? And that's the closing script. And then you go right from there to the $1 million script. And I'll give it to you right now. By the way, you already have it. It was sent to you with your, well, if you're a VIP. If you're not a VIP, get to be a VIP right now. Right now. Can you imagine not getting the recordings of this training over the 5-day period? You're going to retain 20% of it first go around. That makes you normal. And then all those other things that I showed you a while ago. So I drive them to a $1 million script, and here it is. All right, John, if we can agree upon everything else, what's the least you can take for the house? Shut up. I even put shut up in the script to remind you, wait for an answer. And they say, well, I can take blank. Okay, so you tell me that's the best you can do? I think so. All right. So then I go into the next question. John, we usually buy with nothing down, okay? Yes, we say that. And yes, a bunch of them say yes. I just showed you one that said yes, okay? In fact, I showed you two that said yes. We usually buy with nothing down, okay? Now, of course, you got to be trained on what to say if they say no, that's not okay. And then the third one, let's say they got a mortgage. Your last question is, I assume you're okay if I just start making your payments until you're paid off in the future? If they say yes, you just nailed down the term, because if they say yes, there's no balloon, there's no time by which that payment is, that mortgage is due. Now, on the second one, I got a 5-year window. On the first one I showed you, I got 27 years, which is the remaining life of their loan. And so what comes out of your mouth will determine what goes into your bank account. And I'm giving you scripts to read, a little bit of practice, and you'll be an ace. In fact, you'll be surprised how better you are on the phone with a little practice than you are now. And you'll also be surprised how many stupid mistakes you make when you're on the phone. So I'm going to ask you to record your calls and fix your own mistakes. The more bigger size the house you get to, the more you ought to be making. For example, if I sell $1 million house, I ain't taking less than 100 grand. That's only 10%. They need more than that at the bank. And I'll tell you what else I learned. The higher price houses you work in, the more people run around with big gobs of money. Just stands to reason, doesn't it? Cheaper your house is in, the harder it is to get a little bit of money out of. You know, I'd rather get $100,000 on $1 million house than I would a $20,000 deposit on a $250,000 house. More people run around with the money. More dollars you wallet and the more stick to you. Yeah, you can steal that if you want to. I probably stole it from somebody else. I don't know. Tomorrow's class, before we get into, well, I guess we're getting close to the end here. Tomorrow, it's all about finding deals. And it's all about how to wholesale houses easy. Now, part of that class is Adel demonstrating the new Dreams Pro AI. Well, in fact, between now and tomorrow, do this. Right? Dreams Pro .ai, right, Nick? Dreams Pro, P-R-O .ai, and take a look at what I'm going to be talking about on Wednesday. No, tomorrow night, actually, I'm going to be giving you a chance to get that beautiful machine that does everything for you and saves you a ton of money. It even does your mailing for you, postcards, and it'll select motivated sellers. And you'll see how tomorrow when Adel brings it up and goes through it. And then Wednesday, I don't know. I have to look at my schedule. I don't have it in front of me right now. Anyway, you got a lot of things in store for you tomorrow. I believe tomorrow is on finding deals. And I know we're going to do one on pre-screening deals. And then we're going to do one on exiting from deals. That's 4. And one on finding money. Finding deals and finding money. All right. So do everything we can. Now, Nick, what do they do now? Because they're at the end of the session, which was about, call it an hour, 15 minutes long.
Now, I think you wanted to play a video, right? And then
play a 5-minute video showing what you're in for.
Right. So we're going to play a video. And then once that video is over, you're just going to click on the Q&A with Ron button that's on the left-hand side of your screen if you're watching on your computer, or it says Q&A with Ron on the bottom of your screen if you're watching on your phone.
In either case, they can't get through unless they're a VIP member, correct?
Correct. Yeah, you do. This is going to be a Q&A session with Ron where you can actually share your camera and talk with Ron directly. Or if you don't want to get on camera, that's fine too. You can type your questions into the chat and we'll read them to Ron.
Okay, so might as well get a VIP package now, guys, so you can get on these. They're going to be all week. So do it. It's only $149 for crying out loud. Plus, you're going to get all the recordings of the whole week, including the question session, and a monthly conference call with me, a 30-minute planning session whenever you send your app in that you've got access to right now. They'll get you scheduled. You want to get it in right away. Be taking them all a week. You're going to be, I don't know how far it's going to be off where they can reach you if you don't get it in quickly. It's free, all right? And it's not a sales call. It's how are you going to get in this business call? What's stopping you? 90-minute online training on the whole terms business. And then I'll give you a half-a-day course on the whole business, some of which we already just covered. And $1 million scripts. And believe me when I tell you they're worth $1 million in income you're going to lose without them. And they're not very hard to learn at all. And then I'm giving you a whole course on using your IRA to create tax-free wealth with real estate, tax-free. In fact, in that, I got 3 ways that I teach where you can sell property and do not have to pay taxes on them. I do that in my 4-day event. And I'm going to tell you about that on Wednesday, as I said. So all for $149, boy. All right. So Nick, anything else before we take this break?
No, that's it. If you want to sign up for VIP, you can click the VIP button on the left, or you can go to ronlegrand.com/VIP. And again, that'll get you not only the recordings, but also access to the live Q&A with Ron here.
Okay. So let's see. I got 2:15 Eastern Standard Time. So you know what? Let's make it 25 after 2, and let's get right to work. So get your questions ready and get the VIP right now. You got time.
Ron,
Yeah.
just one more thing. So some people signed up for VIP during the event today. So you would have gotten a separate email link to join our event today with as a VIP. So you may need to go back into your email and click that second link to join. Otherwise, it might tell you that you can't access it. So
Yeah, and who
just
can they
look for
call
that.
if they can't find a way to get in?
They can call our VIP services line, which is Nick.
888-840-8389. That's 888-840-8389.
And
But you should be able to get in if you're VIP. You should be able to get in.
well, I just think of how I go on the web all the time trying to order stuff, and man, sometimes it's so hard to get through all other crap. I just want to have a backup phone if you don't get it. All right, I better shut up. Yeah, 25 after 2, starting now. Go.
Ron's event to me is heads and toes above any other event. He always has good content. He has good speakers that he brings in. He doesn't let just anybody come in and speak. He always has good speakers.
It's great energy. There's a lot of people motivated and a lot of people that are getting motivated. You can just tell by everyone that walks up there and speaks that they're here to help with whatever they can. So it's really exciting.
So the content is a little overwhelming at first when some of the mentors have said to us, be prepared, it's like drinking from a fire hose. They are absolutely right.
It's just chock full of so much great information, first of all. And then just to hear testimonials from others who've been doing it as well.
It's awesome. The amount of information it borders on information overload, but it is so good. Every time you hear it, you just understand it a little better.
So the live on-stage phone calls where all the mentors got up on stage. Each mentor got about 3 chances, or whoever they can get on the phone. And it was raw, uncut, live calls. Like, anything can go.
You actually get to see fellow students work on properties that have the potential for you to purchase and make an incredible profit on.
Ron's an awesome guy. He's got the goods. It's not a flash in the pan kind of event. It's just rock solid meat and potatoes, good stuff all the way through.
He is so matter of fact. His teaching style is very to the point. There's no BS, but you learn really quickly that way.
He's the real deal. He's to the point, and he's been doing it for so long that it's like second nature to him. And if you just listen to what he does and what he says, then you'll do fine.
He seems sincere, he's honest, he's easy to understand. He has a sense of humor. So I enjoy his teaching.
Man, he changed my life, man, just off of the content that I've gotten, just listening to him. And I don't know too many people that can hold you in one place for 12 hours and you still be excited just listening to him.
He tells you exactly what to do, how it is. It's no baloney, you know? I like that.
Everybody is just super nice, super helpful. They want to make sure that you're getting what you're needing.
Anytime we have a question, they're there to answer it.
Everybody's so helpful, and all they want to do is see you succeed, which is very good, and it's obvious too.
This event gives you limitless potential. You owe it to yourself to come and learn what this process is, because it will open your eyes and change your life.
Just do it. I mean, save up the money, and if you're on the fence and this is something that you're interested in and you can see yourself doing, then you're absolutely right. You can absolutely do this business. It'll change your life. I believe it's changed mine.
If you're considering real estate at all, this event, you can get people that will walk beside you and help you become a success in this. 100%. You will do deals with these people.
You're going to make it back in one deal if you're passionate about it and this is what you want to do. To me, it's like a no-brainer, you know?
Just do it. Just do it.
This is Lucy, that's her name. This is my 1955 Ford Crown Victoria. I bought it totally restored, and then I had the interior put into it and a few other things. But this is my driver right now, and she's my baby. It's got a 390 cubic inch engine, and it drives and rides nicely. So I drive it around as much as I can, but not as much as I should. Coming up to our office now. Time to go to work. Okay, here we are coming into the office right now. In fact, might as well start with the conference room here. We've made an awful lot of big decisions in this room. This is where we meet from time to time and where we have our all kinds of meetings, and the staff comes in here. Some of the staff, you know, the leaders of the different departments come in here, and we sit around and chat and we work on the boards, and we go through information, make decisions like any other company would do. In fact, I bought this building in 1995 as a bank repo, and this room was already built like this. It's a beautiful room with all that wood on the walls and so forth. And, I mean, it's just so nice. We're never going to change it. So I think what I want to do next is probably show some of our testimonial letters that we have on the wall here. In fact, we have so many of them, we can't possibly put them on the wall, but if you film down that wall, you'll see that we have many, many, many walls in this building just like this with these all over them. And I'll just point out a few here just for examples. Whitney nicely here, she's got her own business going on up there in Tennessee. She started her own Rio Club. Sophia, South Florida, I mean, she's kicking butt down there. And all these folks feel like family to me. Of course, they've all come and been trained, and now they've gone out and they're implementing their training, and many of them have gone on to become trainers. In fact, a good example of that is Dixie Decker here. She lives out in Missouri. She's in the student housing business, and she also trains on the student housing, and she became a multi-millionaire from a single mom, broke and bankrupt, and it didn't take her long once she came and got trained. Blair Halver here got his own business as well, lives in North Carolina, and came and got trained, and now he's out there exploding. Andrew Slag started when he was 21 years old, and now he's one of our mentors, and he lives in Louisville. He does about 6 to 8 deals per month after I trained him, and now he's become a trainer. He's got a course of his own, or a couple of courses of his own, to
that I helped him, worked on with him, and on and on and on, right on down. But I want to especially point out this one right here, Hector Padilla from Los Angeles, California. Can you come over and put the camera on this, please? This guy came to my commercial property boot camp several years ago, and this letter says that he's now purchased over $79 million worth of commercial property. And by the way, I got an update on this later, and he's over $100 million worth of commercial property now, since he came to the boot camp and got the spark and went out and started implementing it. Down here he says, I live in Brentwood, which is next door to Beverly Hills. Yes, I used seller financing to purchase this property for $4.1 million, and it's now worth over $6 million. He says, I have time freedom and I have financial freedom. And of course he wants to thank me, but I didn't do the work. He did the work, I just did the training. So I got a lot of people on here that I instantly recognize, and there's just walls full of these throughout the buildings here. I have a building next door, and they keep coming in. I wish we could mount them all, but we can't. We got about a stack about that deep that should go up on the wall, but we're kind of running out of walls. So there you have it. Here we are in my office now with all of the camera crap in here, since we're doing some filming today. Just a few things. Here's up here on this wall is a photo with me and Mark Victor Hansen, Chicken Soup for the Soul. Him and I became good buddies. Over here is my dad, actually, who was an American, and me, back when I had black hair and mustache. He's a merry-go-round expert. That's what he did. And some people would call him if they wanted to set up a merry-go-round in a shopping center or something. He's the guy they would call, because there was nobody left alive that even knew how to do it. Over here is my home. I live on 10 acres, and these are aerial views of my home. And here, by the way, is a sales letter that a student sent me on a real estate course that was $29 and $2 down and $1 a month or something like that, 1903, in case you think we just started this stuff. So I put it up there on the wall. If you'll turn that around here, let me show my fish up here on the wall. So over there on the right is a king salmon that I caught in Alaska, Salmon Falls Resort. I've been going there for a long time now, since 1995 or 6, I think. Here's a red snapper I caught off of shore in Jacksonville. Had it mounted, and by the way, these are all the real skins on these fish. So, you know, they weren't cheap to mount. And down here is a red snapper. They don't call it that. I forgot what they call it, but it's just some form of cod. Caught it in Alaska, and that's a rather large one. They tell me that fish was about 40 years old or something like that, but, you know, I killed it. All right. Here's a picture of myself and Donald Trump. I hired him to speak one time, and I stood right beside him. I looked right down at his hair, and his hair was coming out of his head, so his hair is real, by the way. So anyway, that's pretty much my office. The rest of it is just junk that I keep. I sit right here at this desk when I actually work in the building, which is not very often. And you know, a lot of decisions have been made right here. So that's my office. And there's one more thing I wanted to show you about my office, okay? And you have to see this. Okay. Here's my bidet. Do you have a bidet in your office? If you don't have one of these, get one, because you'll not be without it once you have one.